Hi, boys and girls. Are you ready for some math? I know that doesn't really seem super fun, but I think that you will enjoy a game that we're going to play together. I'm going to play it with two dice. I have an orange dice and a blue dice. They're big. You could play this with dice at your house. If you don't have a real dice, it's called a die. If you just have one, it's called a die. If you don't have a real die at home, you could take some kind of box or some kind of square toy that you have, and you could put the numbers on it. Or you could make a spinner and spin to get a number. Or you could make 6 pieces of paper and fold them up. Like here's a wipe that I just used to wipe off my dry erase board. But if you wrote a number on the piece of paper and then folded it up small and put it in a little pile, you could draw numbers that way. So even if you don't have dice at home, you can absolutely do this in another way. Be creative, ask your mom or your dad for some ideas, and I bet you can come up with a way to pick numbers. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a few of them with you, and then I want you to continue. I want you to find something and do it at home for practice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll both dice. So here's one dice rolled, and here's another dice. So it's going to be hard for you to see which one's the top in the video. Let me see if I can. Let's see, that's much better. Now you can see what numbers are at the top. So on one, I got a 3, and on one, I got a 6. So I'm going to use those two numbers, and I'm going to add them together first. So my numbers are 3. Oops, I gotta move this down now so you can see. Are 3 and 6. Now, I need to figure out what these two add together to make. So if I add 3 plus 6, what does that equal? 9. So then think about what we know about flip-flop facts. Remember whenever Izzy was with us? She told us this fancy word that they used in their old school, and she called them flip-flop facts. And I loved that because I'd never heard that before. I'd always called them fact families or family groups or number families. I'd never heard flip-flop facts before. So let's see if we can make our flip-flop facts. So I made one addition equation. Remember, I'm going to have another addition equation. And then you always have 2 subtraction equations. So I'm going to go ahead and make my lines so I can remember exactly what types of facts I need to make. So remember, when you do the addition equations, you take the same two numbers and just flip them. So this would become a 6 and this would become a 3. What does 6 plus 3 equal? 9. Now for subtraction. In subtraction, we always start with the bigger number. So with our bigger number, 9 is our biggest number, we're going to start with that with our subtraction equation. So I'm going to have a 9. 9 minus one of these two numbers, I'm going to pick 6 first, equals what? I'm going to use the number that I have left, 3. Sometimes it's easier if you write all 3 numbers together and maybe circle them so that you know exactly what your 3 numbers are. Now let's do our second subtraction equation. We always start with the what? Bigger number. Now I have to flip-flop those two numbers. So now instead of 9 minus 6, I'm going to do 9 minus 3. So 9 minus 3 would equal what? 6. So does that make sense to you? Do you understand how I got all of those facts? I rolled 2 dice. I got a 6 and a 3. I used those two numbers and I added them together to get my third number. Then I made a fact family. I made flip-flop facts with those numbers. Let's see if we can do another one. This time I'm going to go a little bit quicker, but you can pause the video and see if you can make your own and then play the video to see if you got them right. So I'm going to roll this one, a 1, and I'm going to roll this one. Well, that's easy. It's a 1 again. That's a doubles fact. So I'm going to use those two numbers, 1 and 1. I'm going to make my addition facts. This one's actually a good example, even though this is an easy one. It's a good example so I can show you what happens when you get two numbers that are the same. So I have 1 and 1. If I add those two together, what do I get? 2. So I know that 2 is going to be my third number for my fact family. So I'm going to circle those so I know what numbers I'm working with. Now, guess what? When I flip them, they're going to be the same. So I'm going to flip these two numbers, but it's still going to be 1 plus 1 equals 2. Now in subtraction, we always start with the bigger number. So I'm going to start with my 2. Pick one of these numbers to subtract. I'm going to pick a 1. What's 2 minus 1? 1. Start with my bigger number again. Can't flip these numbers really. So I'm going to have minus 1 again, and it equals 1. So that one's a really easy one. I wish I wouldn't have rolled that, but it was good to show you in case you get two numbers that are similar. Okay, let's try again. Remember, if you don't have dice, you can do this with paper or with a spinner or make your own dice on a square toy that you have. Oops, you can't see that. Can you see that one? 6 and a 6. I'm not going to do that because we just did a doubles. So this would be the same thing, just like my 1 and 1. I'm going to roll 1 again. But if you can do that if you'd like to. 5. Ooh, these are going to be some bigger numbers. So I got a 6 and a 5. That is, oops, can't see them there. Those are the two numbers that I'm going to use to start with my equation. So I have a 6 and a 5. Remember, I need to figure out what this third number is going to be. So I'm going to leave space in my circle. Okay, now I'm going to make my lines. You don't have to make your lines. Remember, I'm just showing you this so you know the format that I'm going to use every time. If you would like to make your lines, you can, but you absolutely do not have to. Okay, are we ready? Let me focus this. Okay, 6 and 5, those are our two numbers. I know I'm going to start with those first. What does 6 plus 5 equal? That's a doubles plus 1 fact. 11, so I know that 11 is my third number. Now I'm going to flip-flop these two. I'm going to do 5 plus 6. It was 6 plus 5. Now it's 5 plus 6. That still equals 11 because remember in addition, big number's always at the end. Then in subtraction, our big number's always at the beginning. So I'm going to do 11. Then I'm going to pick one of my numbers. I'm going to pick 6. 11 minus 6 has to equal the third number, which would be 5. Then still have to start with 11 again because it's my biggest number. But now I flip-flop these two. So it was 11 minus 6. Now it's going to be 11 minus 5. And that's going to equal 6. Okay, so that's the last one that I'm going to do with you. But please don't stop this video and just give up. I want you to get a piece of paper and a pencil, and I want you to do a couple more with me, okay? That's the last one I'm going to write out, but I'm going to still roll numbers, then I want you to pause them, and I want you to see if you can write the flip-flop facts or the fact family, whatever you want to call it, okay? Ready? Your next problem is, can't see that, a 3 and a 6. So I'm going to make a chart for you on here. That way if you want to watch me roll and then just do all the equations at the end, you can. I'm going to give you 6 of them. Can you handle 6? If you do 6 sets of these, then by the time you do all of them, you will have written 24 math equations, math problems. Okay, ready? So your first two numbers are 3 and 6. I think that's what we did in the very beginning, wasn't it? I don't know why this is not staying focused. I'm sorry. Okay, ready? Next ones. It's a 1 and a 6. Now remember, on all of these, you still have to figure out what your third number is. So you have a 3 and a 6 and a third number, and a 1 and a 6 and a third number. You've got to add these two numbers together to get your third number. Ready? A 1 and a 2. And then you'll have your third number. Ready? Fourth set, 5 and a 2. And then you'll find your third number. I don't know why that is not staying focused. Sorry, I know that's fuzzy and hard to look at. A 2. Oh, a lot of 2s, and a 3. Okay, last one, ready? A 5 and a 6. Did we already do that one? I think we did that one too, didn't we? Okay, so these are the problems. Let me make that centered there. These are the problems that I want you, here, I'll write it to the side. You can't see that one. These are the problems that I want you to solve on your own. Remember, for each set of numbers, 3, 6 in your third number, 1, 6 in your third number, 1, 2 in your third number, 5, 2 in your third number, 2, 3 in your third number, and 5, 6 in your third number. For all of those sets, I want you to solve 4 problems each. For every single group of numbers, you're going to have 2 addition equations and 2 subtraction, okay? Try your very best. Remember, in addition, your biggest number is always at the end, after the equal sign. In subtraction, your biggest number is always at the beginning. So try to do these. If you would like to make up your own facts, try to find some dice around your house or a spinner, or like I said, wad up some paper, write a number on some paper, wad it up, put it in a bowl, draw paper. However you can come up with random numbers. If you would like to make your own, that is absolutely a-okay too. But if you can't make your own or you don't want to, here are some sets of numbers for you to try. All right? I cannot wait to see those math brains working. Get your numbers in your head. Start thinking about those numbers. Remember, for subtraction, you can catch a number and count up. Catch the number from the sky if that helps you too. All right? I cannot wait to see your facts. Bye-bye.